Very good evening, students. In this class, we are going to start with the last poem of your course book, that is poem 2.6, Money, which is written by William Davies. So, let's start with the introduction of the poem. So, we have on the screen the introduction of the poem. So, children, just keep this in mind that this is the last poem from your course book, as the next two poems, that is poem 2.7, She Walks in Beauty, and 2.8, Small Towns and Rivers, have been deleted from your course due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So, let's start with the introduction of the poem. This poem indicates the determination of a poet who wants to be poor to seek eternal pleasure of life. Importance of money can be realized in poor economical condition only. The friends rich by heart are better than rich by money. Materialistic pleasure vanishes in the flow of time, but eternal pleasure remains as it is. Money can't give you eternal happiness. Poor people laugh freely with their little earning and few friends. In richness, a lot of friends of poet remained false and untrue. But in poverty, friends were few but true. So the poem helps us to look at money and how it is connected to true happiness and false friends. Here we complete the introduction of the poem. So moving on to the next slide, that is the introduction of the poet. So the name of the poet is William Davies. He was a Welsh poet and writer. He spent a significant part of his life as a tramp in the UK and USA. He became a peddler and street singer in England. After several years of wandering in life, he published his first volume, The Soul Destroyer, and other poems. So this was the introduction of the poet. Now we'll move on to the poem. So as you can see on the screen, we have the first stanza with us. The poem consists of total 5 stanzas. So first we are going to go through the first 4 lines that make up the first stanza. Poem 2.6, Money, written by William Davies. When I had money, oh, I knew no joy till I went poor. For many a false man, as a friend, came knocking all day at my door. So this is the first stanza. We don't have any meanings in the first stanza. So in the first stanza, the poet confesses that when his life was enriched with money, he was far away from the eternal joy and true happiness. So, poet wants to be poor to receive the real pleasure of life. In richness, poet had a lot of friends who always used to meet him. So, यहाँ पे ये जो 4 lines है इसमें पोएट बोल रहे हैं, जब मेरे पास पैसे थे तो मुझे उतनी खुशी नहीं थी, लेकिन जैसे ही मेरे पास के जो पैसे थे वो ख़त्म हुए, जब मैं पुअर बना, मैं गरीब बना, तो मुझे पता चला कि असली खुशियाँ क्या होती है. क्योंकि जब मेरे पास पैसे थे तब मेरे पास बहुत सारे फ्रेंड्स थे जो हर बार मेरे घर के दरवाजे पे आते थे, मेरे साथ रहते थे, लेकिन वो सारे फ्रेंड्स जो थे वो फॉल्स फ्रेंड्स थे. फॉल्स मीन्स झूठी दोस्ती थी उनकी, सिर्फ पैसों के लिए दोस्ती थी. So this is the meaning of the first stanza. Now we move on to the second stanza. Then felt I like a child that holds a trumpet that he must not blow, because a man is dead. I dared not speak to let this false world know. So trumpet, as you all know, it is a musical instrument. So in this stanza, while he says that while leading a life of richness, the life of poet was abounded with many restrictions and etiquettes. So, poet compared his life with a boy having a strong desire to blow trumpet, but due to the circumference and manner, he can't do it. According to the poet, a true feeling of happiness is buried under the false status of richness. Now being poor, poet wants to lead the happy life. Poet doesn't want to utter any words about his condition to the world because the world is under the influence of false thinking of happiness. According to the norms of world, happiness can be bought by money. Richness is directly compared with happiness which remained untrue according to the poet. So जो सेकेंड स्टैंजा है उसमें पोएट ऐसा बोल रहे हैं कि then felt I like a child that holds a trumpet that he must not blow because a man is dead. I dared not speak to let this false world know. So यहाँ पे पोएट ये बोल रहे हैं कि उन्हें ऐसा लगा कि जैसे वो एक बच्चे के हाथ में एक ट्रम्पेट दिया है, ट्रम्पेट यानी म्यूजिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट जो होता है वो दिया हुआ है, और बच्चे को बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग डिज़ायर है उस ट्रम्पेट को बजाने का, लेकिन उसे कहा गया है कि उसे ट्रम्पेट नहीं बजाना है क्योंकि वहाँ किसी की डेथ हुई हुई है एंड वो डेयर नहीं करते हैं, मतलब बच्चे को ये बताया गया है कि उसे नहीं बजाना है और रीज़न भी बताया गया है, इसीलिए जो है वो बच्चा हिम्मत नहीं करता है। और उसी तरीके से ये पोएट भी हिम्मत नहीं करते हैं पूरी दुनिया को ये समझाने की कि रियल हैप्पीनेस जो है पैसों से नहीं आती है। एंड पोएट कह रहे हैं कि जब वो गरीब बनते हैं सो उन्हें जो है असली हैप्पीनेस क्या होती है उसका रियलाइजेशन होता है। So this was the second stanza. These are very short stanzas. This poem is also very easy. So moving on to the third stanza, that is, much have I thought of life and seen how poor men's hearts are ever light and how their wives do hum like bees about their work from morn till night. So hum means sing with closed lips. Like you know that humming sound, sound. So that is known as humming sound. So we know the example of bees humming. So they just hum. And here morn is the short form used for morning. So in this stanza, the poet has observed and learned the aspect of life minutely. He observed that heart of poor person is more delighted and contented, though they earn little penny each day. Poet by heart is impressed by the little activity of poor person which are full of happiness and apart from rich person. The wives of poor person are complaining and humming like bees about the efforts taken by their husbands from morning to evening. Poor people are struggling to get penny and save it, but the wives have to take more efforts to maintain the household work. They don't have enough money to spend. Poet is strongly fascinated by such behavior and circumstances. So in this stanza, the poet is saying that he has thought very much about life. उन्होंने अपनी लाइफ के बारे में बहुत सोचा है एंड उन्होंने ये देखा है, दूसरों की लाइफ को भी देखते हुए उन्होंने ये कंक्लूजन निकाला है कि जो गरीब इंसान होते हैं जिनके पास कम पैसे होते हैं तो वो जो है बहुत ही लाइट हार्टेड होते हैं, उन्हें किसी चीज़ की कोई टेंशन नहीं होती है बिकॉज उनके सोच का जो दायरा होता है वो भी कम होता है, उनके वो छोटी छोटी चीज़ों में ही खुशियाँ ढूंढते हैं। एंड वो कह रहे हैं उनकी यही आदतों की वजह से कि जितना उनके पास है उतने में ही वो खुश रहते हैं, इसीलिए उनके जो दिल है वो भी बहुत लाइट रहते हैं, उन्हें किसी चीज़ का कोई टेंशन नहीं रहता है। और देन वो कंपेयर करते हैं उनकी वाइफ्स को, जो हस्बैंड्स वर्क करते हैं उनकी वाइफ्स की बात कर रहे हैं कि हस्बैंड्स जो है बाहर काम करते हैं, घर के लिए अर्निंग करते हैं, लेकिन उनकी वाइफ्स भी जो है वो भी अपना योगदान देती है उसमें। उनकी जो वाइफ्स है वो सुबह से लेकर रात तक के अपना काम करते रहती है, अपने घर का जो काम है पूरा हाउस होल्ड वर्क जो है उनकी वाइफ्स भी कंप्लीट करते रहती है. Just like honeybees, we see honeybees are very hard working, so it is said that they are also as busy as bees. Okay, so उनकी वाइफ्स को बोला गया है कि वो सुबह से लेकर रात तक के काम में लगे रहते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि उनके हस्बैंड्स काम कर रहे हैं एंड वाइफ्स आर नॉट डूइंग वर्क. सो दे हैव इक्वल work distribution among themselves. So moving on to the fourth stanza. So when I hear these poor ones laugh and see the rich ones coldly frown, poor men think I need not go up so much as rich men should come down. So poet in this stanza has felt the touch of difference between the laugh of poor and rich one. Poor people laugh without any hesitation. It is free and from the bottom of their heart. On other side, rich people laugh, but it is not from their heart. Means we can say it is cold and ambiguous. Poet pointed out that rich people are far away from the real happiness. They have left behind the true happiness in search of more and more money. Poor people are happy with their daily earnings and are closely connected to the eternal joy of soul. So, poet suggested that rich people wanted to go down to be in touch with eternal happiness of soul. So, अब वो यहाँ पे कह रहे हैं, वो हंसी या स्माइल के बारे में कह रहे हैं कि जब वो देखते हैं किसी भी गरीब इंसान को हंसते हुए तो उन्हें लगता है कि वो बहुत ज़्यादा उनके दिल की गहराइयों से वो हंस रहे हैं. एंड उसी समय जब वो देखते हैं किसी अमीर इंसान को हंसते हुए तो उनकी हंसी जो है वो उतना एफर्ट्स नहीं लेते हैं उसमें. ऐसा लगता है कि वो बहुत चिढ़ के हंस रहे. फ्राउन मतलब चिड़चिड़ करना. सो बस ऐसा लगता है कि वो फॉर फॉर्मेलिटी वो हंस देते हैं. सो ये सारी चीज़ें देख के पोएट ये कंक्लूजन निकालते हैं कि मैं ऐसा सोचता हूँ कि जो गरीब इंसान है उन्हें ऊपर नहीं आना है, मतलब उन्हें रिच बनने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, लेकिन जो रिच लोग हैं, जो अमीर लोग हैं, उन्होंने नीचे आना चाहिए. उन्होंने जो गरीब लोग हैं उनको देखकर ये सीखना चाहिए कि उनके जो सर्कमस्टांसेस है उसमें भी वो कितने खुश रहते हैं एंड जितना उनके पास है वो उससे सेटिस्फाइड रहते हैं. एंड यहाँ पे उन्होंने ये कहा है कि जो अमीर लोग होते हैं या जो रिच पीपल है वो पैसों के पीछे भागते भागते अपनी जो खुशियाँ है, जो चीज़ को एंजॉय करना है, वो चीज़ को छोड़ के वो पैसों के पीछे भागते रहते हैं. सो वो कहते हैं कि हमें ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए. जो अमीर लोग हैं उन्होंने थोड़ा नीचे आके ये देखना चाहिए कि जो पुअर पीपल है वो कितने कंटेंटेड रहते हैं, कितने सेटिस्फाइड है अपनी लाइफ से. सो दिस इज टोल्ड इन द फोर्थ स्टैंजा. Now we move on to the last stanza, that is stanza 5. So when I had money, oh, my many friends proved all untrue. But now I have no money, oh, my friends are real, though very few. So in this stanza, the poet has compared his economical condition with the past. In past, he possessed sufficient money to spend, having more friends in life. But these friends were not true because their friendship was shafted on money. So these friends proved untrue. In present life, poet is poor, having no sufficient money to spend. In this stage, he has a very few friends, but these friends are true and real. सो ये स्टैंजा में पोएट बोल रहे हैं कि जब उनके पास बहुत पैसा था तो उनके पास बहुत सारे फ्रेंड्स थे एंड जब उन्हें उनकी ज़रूरत थी तो वो सारे अनट्रू प्रूव हुए, मतलब वो सारे झूठे साबित हुए. उनकी दोस्ती जो थी वो सच्ची नहीं थी, वो सिर्फ पैसों के लिए उनकी दोस्ती थी. अब वो बोल रहे हैं कि जब उनके पास उतने पैसे नहीं हैं सो उनके पास बहुत कम फ्रेंड्स हैं और जितने फ्रेंड्स उनके पास है वो सारे ही रियल है, उनके सच्चे दोस्त हैं. इनकी जो दोस्ती है वो पोएट के पैसों से नहीं है बल्कि पोएट से है। पहले जो उनके पास फ्रेंड्स थे वो उनके पैसों से उनकी दोस्ती थी, क्योंकि पोएट के पास पैसा था इसीलिए उनके पास इतने सारे फ्रेंड्स थे और सारे अनट्रू थे, उनकी दोस्ती सच्ची नहीं थी। लेकिन अब पोएट बोल रहे हैं जब मेरे पास कुछ भी मतलब उतने पैसे नहीं हैं, लेकिन मेरे पास जो है बहुत कम दोस्त है और वो सारे ही दोस्त रियल है, मतलब सच्चे दोस्त है। सो दिस is the end of the poem, a very short poem, and here we have completed all the stanzas from 1 to 5. So now we have the summary. So let's summarize the poem. We have the summary on the screen. So William Davies, at the very beginning of the poem Money, states that he had no happiness when he had money. स्टार्टिंग में ही वो हमें बताते हैं कि उनके पास जब पैसे थे तब उनके पास खुशियाँ नहीं थी, रियल हैप्पीनेस नहीं थी। He had to keep it hidden from those who pretended to be his friends. And उस टाइम पे जब उनके पास बहुत पैसे थे तब उनके पास false friends थे। He felt like a child who was given a trumpet but told he cannot blow it because there has been a death. He was afraid of being cheated by those who called themselves his friends. So वो बोल रहे हैं कि जब उनके पास बहुत पैसा था तो उनके पास जो भी खुशियाँ उनको आती थी तो वो छुपा के रखते थे, क्योंकि उन्हें ऐसा लगता था कि उन्हें डर रहता था कि कोई उन्हें धोखा ना दे दे, वो लोग धोखा ना दे दे जो उनसे इतने क्लोज होने का नाटक कर रहे हैं, वी कैन से, या उनके क्लोज इतने हैं, जो कि यहाँ पे उनके फॉल्स फ्रेंड्स को बोला गया है। वो कहते हैं कि उन्हें ऐसा लगता है कि वो एक बच्चे की तरह है जिसे ट्रम्पेट दिया गया हो एंड ये बोला गया हो कि आपको ये नहीं बचाना है क्योंकि यहाँ पे किसी की डेथ हो गई है। Since then he has pondered on the true meaning of life. और उस समय से जो पोएट है वो लाइफ का जो रियल मीनिंग है उसको ढूंढ रहे हैं। So he has watched how those who do not possess much money are light-hearted and their family life is happy. So poor men are able to laugh easily while the rich are worried. So यहाँ पे वो कह रहे हैं कि उस समय से ही पोएट जो है सच्ची जो हैप्पीनेस होती है उसकी खोज कर रहे हैं, या हमारी लाइफ का ट्रू मीनिंग क्या है उसकी खोज कर रहे हैं। सो उन्होंने कई लोगों को देखा है कि जिनके पास बहुत पैसा नहीं होता है लेकिन फिर भी वो बहुत ज़्यादा लाइट हार्टेड होते हैं और उनकी जो फैमिली होती है, उनकी जो लाइफ होती है वो बहुत ज़्यादा खुशहाल होती है। एंड फिर वो बोलते हैं पुअर मैन आर एबल टू लाफ इजीली वाइल द रिच आर वरीड। सो पुअर मैन के पास खोने के लिए कुछ नहीं होता है एंड वो जितना है उनके पास उसमें वो कंटेंट रहते हैं। सो इसीलिए वो आसानी से हंस सकते हैं, खुशियाँ बांट सकते हैं। लेकिन जो अमीर लोग होते हैं वो और पैसों के पीछे भागने के लिए जो पल में उन्होंने जीना चाहिए उस पल को वो छोड़ के पैसों के पीछे भागने लगते हैं। This makes the poet wonder that it is the rich who should experience poverty and not the poor who should become rich. अब यहाँ पोएट अपना पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू रख रहे हैं कि मैं ऐसा सोचता हूँ कि जो अमीर है उन्होंने पॉवर्टी एक्सपीरियंस करना चाहिए, ना कि जो पुअर है उन्होंने रिच होना चाहिए। एंड अगर पुअर जो है वो रिच हो जाते हैं तो वो जो एटर्नल जॉय ऑफ सोल है उसको वो छोड़ के फिर वही ज़िंदगी में पहुँच जाएंगे जो पैसों के पीछे भागने में हम हमारी सारी खुशियों को छोड़ देते हैं। So he again emphasizes that when he was rich, the people who claimed to be his friends were actually false. Now that he has no money, he has real friends, but they are fewer. So अब poet जो है वो again एक टॉपिक पे emphasize करते हैं फ्रेंडशिप के बारे में। सो अब वो बोलते हैं कि जब उनके पास बहुत पैसा था, जब वो अमीर थे, तो उनके पास बहुत सारे फ्रेंड्स थे जो कि बाद में झूठे साबित हुए। लेकिन अब जब उनके पास कम पैसे हैं तो उनके पास दोस्त भी कम हैं लेकिन जितने उनके पास दोस्त है वो सारे ही रियल है, सच्चे दोस्त है. So here we have completed the summary. I hope you all must have understood the poem as well as the summary. Now we move on to the next topic of the poem, that is appreciation. So this is the appreciation of the poem based on the points of title, poet, poem, theme, poetic style or language. So kindly go through the 5 points given on your screen. So we have based on the title. The title is the key to the general meaning or the summary of the poem, because the complete poem is based on the topic of money. So the title of the poem, Money, gives us a hint that the poem is about the disadvantages of having money. Then we have based on the poet. So the name of the poet is William Davies. He was a Welsh poet known as. This can be considered as the theme also. Now based on the poem, it's only after getting poor he experiences the love of true friends, though they may be few. So this is about the poem. So we have just explained in this that what was told to us from the poet in the poem. Then comes the most important, that is the theme. So the theme of the poem is the dual aspect of money. This is very important, dual aspect of money. This is the theme of the poem. A rich man has many false friends and he lacks true happiness, whereas a poor man has few friends who are true and real. Thus, he is enriched with goodness and happiness. So, this is the theme of the poem. You can also write that the theme of the poem is the joy of being poor. Then, based on the poetic style and language, so the poem consists of 5 stanzas having 4 lines each. The rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B. So you can just note the rhyme scheme. The poem is written in a simple language which helps us to identify the true friends and real happiness. Now we move on to the next 4 points, and those points are poetic devices, special features, moral and opinion. So in poetic devices, the use of the figure of speech inversion is very powerful. So we can say that inversion is the dominant figure of speech in this poem. Then repetition of O is also very significant. Antithesis, simile and onomatopoeia are also seen in the poem. So we already know the figures of speech like inversion, repetition, antithesis, simile and onomatopoeia. We have already gone through all these figures of speech in the earlier poems. Then we have special features. So the special features of the poem is its difference between the happiness of poor and rich. So the difference between their friends is also significant. The use of O at the end of 3 lines is expressive. It has different expressions at different contexts. In the first line, it expresses sad tone of lacking something, but it has a tone of fulfillment. So यहाँ पे जो O यूज़ किया गया है, so इसमें वो चीज़ जो है तीन तीन जगह यूज़ की गई है एंड अलग अलग एक्सप्रेशंस दर्शाए गए हैं वो लाइंस में जो ओ यूज़ किया है उससे. सो फर्स्ट वाला जो है उसमें एक सैड टोन है. सो आप देख सकते हैं कि हर कॉन्टेक्स्ट में अलग अलग एक्सप्रेशंस दर्शाए गए हैं उस एक्सक्लेमेशन से. So we can say that this becomes a special feature of the poem. Also, the special feature is that it's difference between the happiness of rich and poor. So that is also a special feature of the poem. Next comes the moral. What do we learn from the poem? So the message of the poem is that to experience true joy and happiness, one need not be rich and wealthy. So it is said that हमें खुश होने के लिए अमीर होना ज़रूरी नहीं है. It is not necessary for the poor to be rich as necessary it is for the rich to become poor. One can actually enjoy true happiness when one becomes poor. So this is according to the poet. What we have understood, I have written here in the point of moral. Then about the poem you are required to give your opinion. So in my opinion, I think that I like this poem because it reveals the real worth of money. It also clarifies the false and fake beliefs about the rich and the poor. Understanding the real worth of people, true happiness and value of money in an early age is actually a blessing. This poem certainly teaches a valuable life lesson to all. So this is my opinion about the poem. So here we have completed appreciation of the poem based on the points of title, poet, poem, theme, poetic style, language, poetic devices, special features, moral and opinion. Now we move on to the last part of the poem, that is figures of speech. The first one is felt I like a child, I think. So it is inversion because the correct order of words is changed. Second one is much have I thought of life. So it is inversion because the correct prose order of words is changed. And the correct order of words, you can see it is given for both the examples. Then the third one is like a child. So it is simile because it is showing direct comparison using the word like. And here the poet compares himself with a child who has been given a trumpet and asked not to blow it. Then wives do hum like bees about their work. So it is also simile as the wives of poor men are compared to the honeybees, are compared in sense of busyness, okay, how they are as busy as bees in their work. Then we have the fifth one, which is when I had money, money oh. So it is repetition. Money word is also repeated and we can say that the same line is repeated in line 1 and line 17. So here you can see the line is repeated and the word money. The word is the theme and it is repeated to emphasize he was rich. So you can just see that we have written repetition for the word money also and for the line also, because the same line is repeated in line 1 and line 17. Now we move on to the next 5. The first one is do hum like bees. So hum here imitates the sound of humming of bees. So it becomes onomatopoeia because onomatopoeia is a figure of speech which refers to any kind of sound. Then 7, many a false man as a friend, many friends proved all untrue. Poor ones laugh, rich ones frown. Then poor men need not go up, the rich men should come down. So these 4 are example of antithesis. So antithesis, we know that it is opposites in the same line. So the quality in the first one we can, in the seventh one we can see that the seventh and eighth one, the quality of friends is supposed to be sincere and loyal, but they are described as opposite, false and untrue. Then in the next ones we have the poor smile or laugh and the rich frown. So this is opposite of what we expect. The rich must know simplicity, says the poet. The opposite of what we say, that the poor must come up in life. So this is antithesis, means opposites are there. Up and down also we can say, so that is also an example of antithesis. So here we have completed the poem 2.6 Money, written by William Davies. So I feel that this was the end of the poetry section from my side. We have completed 6 poems from 2.1 Song of the Open Road till poem 2.6 Money. So complete poetry section has been completed. So you all are requested to kindly go through the poems every day, or you can just select one poem per day and just keep on reading the poem, keep on solving the question and answers for the poem and complete it on that particular day. Don't leave it for future. So here we have completed the poetry section. So I may now stop sharing my screen, and if you all have any doubts, you can just let me know. Kindly put in the chat box if you have any kinds of doubt. Okay, so here we have completed the complete poetry section, and from tomorrow onwards we are going to meet at the same time, that is from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. So as you go through your textbook, you can just see there that we have 6 lessons to be completed in the prose part, and 6 parts are there in your writing skills and 4 novels. So from tomorrow onwards we'll complete with the novel section. Tomorrow we'll start with the first novel, that is 4.1 History of Novel. See children, as we have completed the poetry part today, so I'll be providing you with all the notes of all the poems along with the figures of speech and appreciation. So it will be updated in the WhatsApp group soon. And from tomorrow onwards, as I told, we are going to start with section 4, that is the genre section. And in tomorrow's class, we'll complete the first part, that is 4.1 History of Novel. So I request everyone to kindly be present in tomorrow's class, and be present with your textbook, as it is very important part of your question paper, the genre section. So we'll continue our class tomorrow at the same time, and be ready with your textbook. If possible, you can just read the lesson and come. The lesson 4.1, which is given on page number 173 of your textbook. So here we sum up our session for today. You are required to join the classes from tomorrow at the same time. So everyone, goodbye, take care, and please be attentive in the class and be regular. So thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you all tomorrow.